God damn it. I'm tired. I'm so tired. Like, legitimately. My God. Actually. So here's the thing specifically, right? It's just that the mother, like, it kind of makes me realize a lot of the time that it's just like I'm just disappointed basically in humanity itself. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I mean, suddenly a lot of things kind of like don't make a lot of sense to begin with. Like, really, a lot of people are like all this combat, and it really sometimes, most of the time, it's just like, okay, is it really for your own good, or is it just like you're just fighting on purpose just so you can waste some time and actually get nothing out of it, while the presenter itself gets the most out of it? And it's like, in that way, it kind of makes me realize a little bit that it's just like, okay, so why on earth is it always like should I encourage behavior that encourages an elder god to essentially keep swallowing whatever the hell they're swallowing? Like, in some ways, it's kind of like a lot of people would say, like, dude, it's like it's their living standard. You kind of have to protect everyone's living standard, and it's like, to some degree, what I think about really is just like, okay, sure, but their living standard is consuming people all the time, most of the time, and it's like, if you consume people and on the process all the time, it just becomes like this kind of deal where you're just like, oh yeah, look at this dude being this thing in particular and trying to defend against this thing. And it's like, most of the time, what I end up with is just like a lot of people just using others, making stuff up, or making people fight just because they don't want to deal with them in particular. And it's like, most of the time, that's just really what it is. It's like, most of the time, what I see with media in particular nowadays is just that. It's just people trying to get ahead and just seeing other people be like, oh yeah, dude, I got some great things, and I sold AI to poor people so they can actually enjoy their poor people art that is like meaningless to begin with. So it's like, yeah, no, give them like tools of meaninglessness so they can actually empathize about how meaningless the tools that they've given that they're given are. And it's just like, wow, okay. Like, in some ways, sometimes I'm just like, I'm just generally disappointed on humanity altogether. All of humanity, I'm disappointed in all of humanity to begin with. So it's kind of like that kind of deal in particular, because it's just like, okay, well, what are you actually looking at? Who is the hungry, like, person that is kind of like eat out of like this particular system in this particular given time? And it's just like, okay, so suddenly everyone wants to get a bite out of the administration of a particular system that is in place, and nowadays it just becomes the escalation of a culture war that is most of the time just disagreements over who gets what piece of the pie in particular, rather than actually being about culture in particular. While, like, most of the time, the people who are dealing with the front of the issues are the ones who are being the most vocal about culture in particular. And it's just like, suddenly I'm over here thinking, so, okay, so you're defending your culture, but you're kind of defending yourself because you're kind of like raising a flag over like living standards that you're used to, and it's like totally fair enough because that's just how you're used to living. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if what you're used to living is essentially siphoning every soul that comes out into this engine of life machine that essentially is just about like, yeah, I get to choose who I sacrifice in this place. It just kind of becomes a little bit of like, right, so who do we sacrifice in this place, or who do we sacrifice in that place? And it just becomes that kind of deal where you're just like, okay, well, that's a little bit unfortunate now, isn't it? It's like, most of the time, my ideal would probably be just like, maybe try to encourage living standards in which you can actually be happy with, essentially. And it's like, to some degree, everyone is not the same. Essentially, not everyone is the same. To say that everyone is the same is an absolute lie. And psychologically speaking, every single monkey wants a grape, basically. And if they see another monkey having a grape, they will do everything in their power to actually take it away from the other monkey so they can get the grape that they're eating. And then they see another monkey that has a banana, and it's like, okay, suddenly this grape is not enough, so suddenly I have to eat the banana. So whenever that happens, I just take a look at like all these things for like about like movements in particular, and I just go like, okay, who's showing grapes and bananas to people so they actually go towards an end goal, which is like essentially something that I don't actually see that accurate to begin with. And it's like, right, so suddenly all this AI nonsense of like being art for open people, it just becomes that kind of deal where you're just like, no, yeah, it is art for any art, anyone who isn't able to do art. So by the way, all the artists that we're living off of a particular standard, they're kind of screwed because everyone needs to have art and a machine that makes art for them, which at the end of the day, it just becomes this kind of deal where it's just like, that's literally not the point of art to begin with. So in some ways, I just look at humanity most of the time and I'm like, I'm a bit disappointed that you're trying to siphon everyone's souls and trying systems to siphon everyone's souls into one place so you can consume every soul that comes through here. And it's like, okay, so what exactly, like, then I see the argument of it's for safety, it's for everything, and it's like, okay, but suddenly I see a bunch of engines of life saying that it's about safety, and it's like, you kind of question, it's like, for whose safety in particular, all right? And it's like, for who? And it's like, for what purpose? For what safety? And it's like, it's a combination of things where in one spot you have monkey sees banana and monkey sees grape, and in some other aspects it is something way different, which is like monkey gets grape, monkey gets 100 bananas, and then most of the people are like, well, I don't even get to see what the 100 bananas are all about, basically. Which it kind of comes into this whole argument about ad block in particular, right? Because you see people with 100 bananas going around and having enough power for you to actually tell you that, no, you're supposed to get a grape, essentially, right? You're conditioned to eat on a grape at this point in time. You are conditioned to do so. And because of your condition, because of the social coding that has been implemented into your brain, you specifically have to behave in this particular manner, otherwise I will see you as an inferior, and otherwise if you do not behave exactly as I mandate, you are inferior within the social hierarchy of this particular state. Which is like, in that case, it just kind of becomes like, okay, so then people do not have any chance of free will to begin with. And it's like, do they? Most of the time, a lot of people will say, well, you were born into a place, and because you were born into a place, you are meant to stay in that place. And it's like, it's kind of like a weird argument where I see a lot of like commentators say that you're supposed to stay in the place that you were born with, and you're supposed to empathize with the culture that you're supposed with, because you're the one that actually was born in that place. And it's like, it's the same thing with coding of poverty. It's like, if you take out the context, you can kind of turn around and say, okay, what if we change the phrasing, and it's like, you're supposed to be there where the place that you belong to, and you kind of take it into economic standpoint, and you're like, you come back to where you belong in the poverty line. Get out of my lawn, you insolent whatever, you know. And it's just like, a lot of people just come down with even further arguments about how they're supposed to be on that side of the grass itself. And it's just like, it just becomes an endless loop of the same thing. People trying to seeing a defense in the front, people saying like, I hate this person in particular. And most of the time you see the drama unveil itself, and just people just being angry at each other because like you see a few people with like bananas, when most of the time people just get rapes, and it's like, or they don't even get anything to begin with. And it's just like, well, suddenly this whole game kind of seems a little bit like of debates about things, when in reality it's just like people conditioning other people into living standards that aren't necessarily something that they're supposed to. And in some ways, most of the time, the only wealthy people are the ones who are actually have to pay someone so they can conversate themselves back into a healthy mental state. So in that kind of world in particular, it seems to me like we are living in a further and further divided world, because we don't have enough people to empathize with, because we all kind of purchased into ideas because of the internet, and we all internationally kind of saw all this culture unveil itself into these smaller spots, and getting the ceiling smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's just like, okay, the thing is, we kind of all bought into this neutral culture to begin with. So for you to be telling me that I need to be educated back into the place where you belong to, it kind of like feeds the fact that it's just like, this is not the place that you're supposed to be. This is not the economic spot that you're supposed to be. And it just becomes that kind of like shaming kind of tactic, where you're just like, okay, no, you're not supposed to be here because like you're not Mia Khalifa, right? Like like for example, dude, back in my day, a lot of Indian women were incredibly attractive. So much that one of them is high up, and it's like, well, she got there for a reason. And then you kind of look around and you're like, okay, so where exactly did everything go wrong where things just go south? And it's just like, okay, let's just put it in the most human vision possible. What is the thing that most people empathize about? Sex, food, and water. Man sees an Indian woman. Man gets his fill out of an Indian woman. man potentially doesn't entirely buy the Indian woman, but rather just dates her in some particular, and he just doesn't marry her, and he's like, oh yeah, well, I had my fill, I don't really need everything else anymore. And it's just like, whenever you actually take a look at that, you're like, I mean, most of the time what you have is just a world where a lot of people dispose of other people whenever they have had their fill of a particular marketing ploy, basically. And it's mainly because the market itself is plotted in such a way that it promotes the most popular thing at a given time, essentially. So because of that, the way the market is portrayed is suddenly you're very attractive because the market allowed you to be attractive within its own market to begin with, and you do have natural quirks as well. Suddenly you really become attractive to the market, and it's like, because of it, most of the time what you end up as a person is just witnessing that, and you're like, okay, so suddenly everyone wants to get a fill of whatever the hell is the most popular thing on the market, essentially. Which is, I mean, at some point in time, Japanese women, really. And it's like, in some other regions, actually, you know what? Let me Google this real quick, if this information is possible. What is the most Googled race in this place? Okay, it doesn't show me specifically. But yeah, essentially it's just like, necessarily, most of the time what you have is people agreeing to diversity because they saw what the best of the market could offer, then suddenly being like, okay, suddenly I've got my fill, I'm satisfied, I don't need any more of this, okay? And most of the time it's just like, well, I've broken the place already, so suddenly I don't really want diversity anymore because I'm getting a little bit tired of it, and it's creating chaos among other people, basically, which is like, it's essentially what is happening. It's just like, dude, there's a lot of people that don't actually agree living in this place, like, please. And it's like, most of the time what I end up with is just like, well, this is kind of like the movements that kind of lead towards cultural change to begin with, which is one of the things that it's part of the process of which we are kind of going through. And it's just, most of the time it's just like, I feel regions in particular, they're just kind of like downplaying and just being like, yeah, no, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to kick some of them now because it's kind of not working out as expected. I got a little bit too many in, and they're kind of like organizing to get their version of the culture to begin with, and it just becomes like, well, yeah, that is supposed to happen. It's like, diversity is not the problem in itself. Skin color is not the problem in itself. It is just, the problem in itself is the idealization of some dudes that wanted Mia Khalifa to become a reality times 100, essentially, which is kind of like essentially what is really happening at this place, basically. So it's just like, in particular, it's just like, okay, suddenly I really want some more Asians in my region. Yeah, so I kind of take a look at that, and I'm like, you want to turn them into your culture because you want to see more people getting used to this, right? It's not because you're thinking with your urges, right? Okay, so why suddenly are you justifying all these privacy things in order for you to get the next Mia Khalifa in place? Why? how, I mean, I would totally do that if I was in that position, really. Like, legitimately, like, if you told me I have the power to actually do absolutely anything, I'd be like, well, I mean, the plants, the seeds of freedom have been planted, and it is time for me to reap what has been produced, essentially. So, yeah. Suddenly, I hate humanity. Suddenly, I kind of really hate humanity in particular. Because it's like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, well, I'm not supposed to like say these things because like this is really not what I've been purchased to begin with, right? Like I've purchased into diversity. Okay, yeah, but suddenly I already had Mia Khalifa. I had my fill. Like, why do I keep like pushing for things that I no longer agree with? Like suddenly I see an evolution of culture that I'm not used to, and I'm like, no, suddenly I don't really want things to change, really. Like, no, dude, what? Dude, I love preserving my culture. I've always loved preserving my culture, and it's always has been about that. And it's like, oh. So no, it's not about you having the bountiful harvest that a specific system has produced to begin with. It's just you getting a little bit of a maneuver to get ahead to get the best harvest out of the season. I hate humanity suddenly. I'm suddenly like a very disappointed dad that is just like, oh, son, have you really done this again? Son, son, I totally get you, but like, your harvesting suddenly turned a bunch of women angry against you because they feel used, and a bunch of men angry because they couldn't get anything of the harvest. So, in some ways, I'm kind of like, why are we fighting these pointless, like, conflicts to begin with? Why? Question: why is peace being suddenly disturbed because people just want to get like a front line so they can actually do not get called as hypocrites? And it's like, yeah, I mean, suddenly it's just like, dude, I suddenly defend gay people. And it's just like, you get a lot of gay people, and it's like, oh, dude, I actually got a lot of gay people. I suddenly don't want to support them because I wanted to be on the right side of history so I can actually get the harvest that I expected. And it kind of becomes that kind of deal where you're just like, okay, suddenly I'm homophobic. Suddenly dude, like, I'm so against like, I'm suddenly really against the gays now. Suddenly I'm really against the gays. And it's just like, most of the time what you end up with is just like people kind of going against, like, pushing their own foot, trying to look the best for most people, saying outrageous things, then saying the most like preservative type of argument and saying this doesn't work, and the other side saying this totally works, it's just that you haven't figured it out yet. And then just you having to see a bunch of silly people beat each other with a stick. Okay, so what? So suddenly I'm over here sitting at a bunch of people, like kind of scratching my head and just being like, this. I suddenly really don't like this person because I kind of had a little bit of a vendetta against them, and that can totally be true, and the arguments can be valid, and they totally can be, but suddenly you kind of look around and you're like, son, are you trying to rizz up Jennifer because Jennifer is a little bit crazy and she thinks that she suddenly like really hates people of a specific group? No, honey, no. Dude, honey, I'm not that dude. I'm totally not that dude. What are you talking about? I'm trying to defend our core values. Okay, honey, what are our core values? Fuck bitches, get money. Honey, those are not our local values. Our local values involve a lot of presentation, a lot of work, a lot of... Shut up, honey. Honey, this is not what it's supposed to be. Honey. Honey, come over here, honey. Come over here. Okay, listen here, honey. Are you trying to bang the neighbor? No. I mean, I know that she's single, but are you actually trying to bang the neighbor? And just because she's a little bit, like, thinking different, suddenly you want to create an empire in order for you to actually get her coochie? No. Honey, I think we're not sleeping together tonight, and I want a divorce. Dude, that's not stopping me from making an empire and going to the neighbor already. Yeah, but yeah, this whole cultural thing kind of like, you're kind of like looking around and you're like, so I'm kind of a little bit like, dude, it's for preserving the peace. Dude, don't you get it? People are harmful. They are harmful. They are not like us. They're not like us. They think differently. But everyone is like that. Literally every human is like that. Suddenly, I think like, I see like, oh dude, you know, there's this really attractive black woman out there, and like I kind of subscribed to the whole idea because I really like Jennifer. I really like Jennifer, but like she ended up being a bitch. And there's this new kind of like black woman around the corner that she's kind of attractive. I suddenly looked like the worst piece of shit ever because I'm lonely, I'm fat, I'm older, and I'm no longer banging Jennifer, but rather I see banana over here, hot black woman Sally over here, and I was like, suddenly I'm very tolerating. Suddenly I'm so tolerating. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, yeah, I mean, dude, you gotta get together with me. Like it's not that I'm using women because I cannot get like a proper functional relationship with a woman, basically, and it's not because like I'm actually sleeping with the girl next door every single time. Like, no, it's not like that, honey. And it's like, oh. So again, it's like, why should I listen to most people at this time? Is like, a lot of the time the only thing that they have is just like kind of have like a little bit of a changing attitude and being like, dude, like I've created a market out of literally people being angry about something. Do I just keep going just because that can keep me having a job? And it's just like, yeah, I mean, do I suddenly really have a job? Do I have a job by literally hating people? Oh, whoa, I actually have a job because I hated people. Okay, so suddenly me being a hater is kind of like a good thing, isn't it? And it's like, do you know what? Fuck Sally. Sally is not attractive. She's not a hot black woman. She's just a whore. And who cares what that whore is like? Suddenly, I'm back in high school. Suddenly, everyone kind of treats themselves like they're in high school. And suddenly, people are like, dude, you're not supposed to say that. And it's just like, okay, listen here, fucker. Everyone here is a vampire, okay? Everyone here is a motherfucking vampire. Are you actually telling me that you're not a vampire? Why are you sucking on John's dick at the moment? Why does John's dick have bite marks? I'm not a vampire, honey. Dude, you're the worst. You're the worst person out there. Dude, why? Why are you the worst person out there? It's like, so the government cocked me outside of sight. Like, okay. Okay, dude. Okay. All right. Okay. No, yeah, I get it. Dude. I totally get it. Like, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I just go to live stream and I just see a bunch of Asian women and some like hot white woman, some attractive woman kind of being like, oh dude, she's kind of attractive. Like, dude, whoa, look at that. She looks like anime. Oh my god, she looks like the kind of girl that has her own perspective, or she's kind of smart, or she's kind of quirky, or she's kind of like this, or she's kind of like that. And it's just like, oh. So it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, yeah, no, it's like at some point I just end up hating humanity in particular, because then I see a bunch of people just being like in the just chatting section, just being like, hey bruh, check this chick out, should I ask her out? Okay, no, bro, shut your hole. I'm coming together. No, dude, I shouldn't have told you to begin with. What the fuck? I was just like, wow, okay, well. Suddenly, it just becomes like a kind of deal where you just have a bunch of people just saying, this is for the ideal. Dude, like, don't you get it? We're doing this for the better good. And in reality, it's just like, oh, no, it's for the better good of who? For the better good of who in particular? And it's like, is it gonna be for your good? Is it gonna be a culture war in particular in favor of someone? Is it like, oh dude, suddenly I really don't like diversity because like suddenly I'm eating motherfucking corn in a stick and I feel poor now? I was like, oh, well. I was like, most of the time it's just like people are kind of like bound to the condition to begin with. It's just like, oh no, dude, no, you're not supposed to be that. So suddenly it's just like, most of the time I just end up with people just being like, oh my god, why is there a bunch of rich people selling me a motherfucking clock that costs $1,000 while I'm over here basically not getting pizza tonight? Like, oh, what am I doing with my life essentially at that point? It just becomes that kind of deal where you're just like, oh, well, dude, I'm not racist. It's just that Sally is a bitch. And it's just like, dude, shut up. You banged Jennifer. Like, shut up. So it's kind of like that where you're just like, dude, what is the deal now? Suddenly it's just like, suddenly everyone kind of becomes tech savvy. Okay, actually, hear me out on this one. Suddenly everyone is a computer nerd, right? Suddenly it's like, puts glasses on. Dude, I've been an otaku the entire time because I know about Japanese women and I know a little bit of like getting my favorite spyware installed inside of my computer. That, like, don't you get it? I do also know how to install spyware on my computer like anybody else out there. Like, dude, do you know Spotify? Do you know YouTube? Do you know, like, motherfucking Google? Dude, I also install spyware. I know how it works, dude. I totally do. And it's like, oh, well, suddenly nobody has fun anymore. And suddenly it's just like, dude, actually, as for the gun of the people, actually, it's for safeguarding people. Actually, I am suddenly trying to get inside of Anna's pants. And I was like, yeah, well, there you go. It's like, oh, yeah, I mean, oh, dude, like, I don't know. Like, suddenly, kind of like a lot of these dreams are like, what? So like most of the time I just kind of like end up just being like scratching my balls and just being like, dude, shut up. Literally shut up. It's like, I'm a fucker. Okay, everyone is trying to condition every single other individual into their kind of like mindset so they don't actually feel lonely in the world. But they have to be the flag bearer in particular. They have to hold a pole and just be like, this is my flag, I planted it here, and this is my place. And it's just like, dude, with like the internet itself, it's just like, it becomes even more often. It becomes perpetual kind of deal where you're just like, yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't want the best for the people. I want the best out of the people. Don't you get it? Ring, 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 ring. Hello, this is hard processor. We're gonna shut down like suddenly there's like a lot of women doing OnlyFans, and it's just like I suddenly I got a list of women who actually they have to be banned out of the platform because they're kind of like a little bit icky at this moment. Please, thank you. Yeah, like they're destroying our culture as we speak. Okay, like they're making our youth becoming more worthless. What? It's not because I passed through. No, it's not because I passed through there. And shut up and just get on with it with Johnny boy. And it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, cool. Fair enough. Fair enough. Suddenly, a lot of the things just go around, and I'm like, yeah, no. And suddenly you're like, dude, your culture is too dangerous and too harmful, and it will hurt our youth in particular. By the way, I really, like, I want my son to date an attractive woman and not a woman of that kind of like side of field, okay? Like, or I don't even want to go there where I want to, like, I don't know, get like information basically to basically get into the root of the problem, right? No. So it's like, the more that I see people saying that is for the safety of people, the more I'm like, okay, what are you trying to distract us all from, essentially? What exactly are you actually? Do you have a particular database of some hot women in your area that we must know about? Is that what is happening? It's like, no. 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 Definitely not. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. No. Oh, you want your otaku culture? Get your stupid otaku culture over here, and I'll give you the ugliest women out there. I'll market you the ugliest women out there. Shut the fuck up. You got your fill? Okay, you're gonna get your fill. I'm gonna send you the ugliest women out there into that side of the field. I was just like, alrighty then. Wow. Okay, suddenly I'm over here like, oh, dude, I defended this otaku culture. Why am I getting punished? Why didn't I just go towards the greener grass that was supposed to be the conservative agenda to begin with? No, it's just a bunch of rich motherfuckers dealing with your information so they can actually get the best hot piece of ass out of a particular place. Fuck you. I know you. I know what you're doing, PayPal. Fuck off. Jeez. So it's like most of the time what I kind of like end up with is just like a bunch of people just being like idealism, like throwing idealism out of the window whenever there's a hot woman right next to them. So it's just like most of the time, if history knows well, is that what humanity has gone to war over women. This is nothing different. This is literally the same thing. And suddenly people are like shaming other people into agreeing with more outrageous terms within technology. So for you to just go around and say these kind of things, it kind of makes me a little bit scratch my head, and I'm like, so dinner later? No, dude, you fucking ruined everything. You fucking ruined everything. The list of hot women is out there, and we do not know what it is. It's probably somewhere around here. And it's like, wow, okay, cool. No. Yeah, no, totally. I totally get this safety kind of thing. I totally get this. No. I totally get the fact that you're trying to make new Mia Khalifa. Like, totally, I totally get it. And making people to be agreeing to more outrageous things, actually. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just the fact that it's just like everyone is kind of like on bullshit. Everyone is on a huge pile of bullshit. Who the fuck do you all think you are? Oh, so you don't have a penis? You have a penis. I'm sorry. You have a vagina. Whoa, that's even different. So yeah, it's kind of like that where I'm just like, people decided to stop laughing at things because they kind of like thought that people were too stupid to actually realize what could be the possibility of a new future. And it's just like, yeah, essentially, yes, actually, yes. There's people who think the average motherfucker is so stupid that they're willing to eat a bunch of ideology and think that this is for the better of the people. Wow. Okay. No, yeah, no, totally. So it just becomes this kind of deal where I'm just like, I hate humanity now. That's the end result. I hate humanity now. Oh my god. So yeah, it's kind of like that, and essentially it's just like, nowadays a lot of people are just kind of like playing around into this idea that, dude, everyone is misogynistic, or everyone is racist, or everyone is like that, and it's just like, no. No, you gotta think about it in the spectrum of the simplest things that monkey can do. Monkey can scratch ball, monkey can like smile, monkey can be like whatever you want, but at the end of the day, if monkey cannot get huge pile of banana, what is the point, really? So that is really like the end line specifically. So, yeah, I mean, honestly. So, be right back. I'm gonna go take a piss. I'll be back. Okay, well, so we can all agree that the reason why every single man out there suddenly likes Japanese women is because they're the most, like, I don't know how to put it, like, they're the ones who have dealt with the least amount of bullshit, basically. It's just like, yeah, because, like, suddenly it's all about respect, right? Except when it isn't, but suddenly everything's about respect. So yeah, it's like a lot of, like, I'm gonna be real with you, it's like everyone is idealizing the perfect woman, and ironically the perfect woman is not as free as you think that you would think, because essentially, do you really want to deal with someone who is free to buy stupid shit that nobody cares about? As a guy, sometimes I sit in my throne and think about all these things, and it's just like, how do I get to women who agree on the same side as me? How do I do that? And it's like, most of the time, the only way that you can actually end up empathizing with comes back to the three main things: water, food, and sex. If you can empathize with a woman about having the sweet honey dance, sticky honey dance, suddenly everyone is a little bit happier, because you're actually dealing with someone who can have some sense of empathy with you. So it's suddenly this kind of deal where it's just like, dude, don't censor video games, or don't censor this. It's the only way that we can actually empathize with women. Like, women can suddenly empathize with us because of this bullshit. And it's like, well, yeah, kind of. This kind of works. Suddenly, suddenly people are coming to try to take it away in some way, and I'm like, well, great. No. I mean, really now. So it's kind of weird. It's like a lot of people don't want to kind of admit it, but I feel like most of the time people don't really want the most free a person can be, because they get weird ideas, and the end result is like, nobody can empathize with you if you're too niche, essentially, right? It's like, you're too fucking niche. How the fuck am I gonna get into you? It's like, you need to be mainstream, and because, like, I've been conditioned to like the mainstream, and it's like, what has been mainstream in the last 10 years, 20 years? Japanese culture. It really has been. It's like, a lot of people want to lie about it, but it really has been like the most mainstream thing. It's like everyone thinks that they were explorers of the internet, and they were like, dude, I'm fucking Indiana Jones over here. I'm plundering like motherfucking like unexplored land. I am talking over unexplored land. And it's like most of the time I kind of like scratch my face, and I'm like, dude, this is getting presented in Pornhub. So I mean, I don't know what to tell you, buddy, but it's kind of mainstream, actually. I feel like every male has gotten a feel of Japanese content to some degree. So yeah, it's just kind of like that, essentially. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, a lot of the times people are fighting each other because they want to keep the people that they've actually used in order for them to get favor. into a better place, into giving that a utopia that they so desired. But it's like after they've been used, essentially. So in some ways, I kind of like just sit around. I'm just like, so what's the program tomorrow? What's on TV tomorrow? Oh, I don't even watch TV. Wow. Okay. So yeah, specifically, it just becomes that kind of deal where as people, we're kind of like, I feel like, okay, don't get me wrong, this is gonna offend a lot of people, but I feel like most people have become creeps. Most people aren't willing to admit it, and most people are willing to say the most outrageous things, but keep being creeps, so they can actually feel a little bit special by the fact that there's a Japanese woman sitting right next to them, cleaning their ears. Because no woman in this god-forsaken world is willing to do that anymore. Because no woman is willing to be kind and respectable, and we're left off with 3 women who think that having an earring inside of their nose is freedom. Yeah. Basically, I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, essentially. It's like suddenly, honey, I suddenly look like a cow now. Not that kind of cow. I wanted the cow outfit, not a motherfucking cow ring. Oh, well. Honey, but did I get it right? Did I actually get close to the main objective? Sure, honey. You're a free butterfly in the sky. Oh yay! Thanks, honey. I love you. By the way, I'm gonna break up with you because you kind of cheated on me. So no, and it's because I might have cheated on you before that, but still, I mean, it's no, yeah, maybe that's the deal, really. It's just like, okay, that is the reality. Everyone is a creep nowadays. Everyone. Because we were in lockdown, okay? Everyone is kind of a creep that locks themselves inside of a room and suddenly makes everything smell like fish because suddenly they're really into Japanese culture. And it's like, no, dude, it's sushi. We love sushi in this place, right? This is what we love. The smell of fish inside of a room. So, yeah, I mean... yeah. So... yeah, most of the time what I end up with is just a bunch of people being angry that they've been used by others, and using it as a way to push themselves forward, and not only that, push other people backwards into more outrageous standards of technology, lifestyle, culture, and so on. And it's like a lot of the people will be like, dude, it's, yeah, culture, because like suddenly the culture that I kind of preserve is kind of like getting out of hand. It's like, dude, are you trying to keep Japanese culture to themselves so you can actually like motherfucking go on a trip? It's like, no, dude, no. Goes to Japan, cool. So yeah, it's kind of like most of the time I just like, I mean, I say this because I'm a weeb in particular. I'm an otaku. I'm like whatever the fuck. I've not, I mean, a lot, I would go as far to call other people tourists to begin with. Like, I've gotten to that fact, to that place in particular, right? Like, I feel like sometimes I see some other people and it's like, dude, you're only here for it because of that, right? So it's just like, it kind of becomes this kind of deal where it's just like, do I become the also called administrators that go on servers and go into the chat and see grill in the chat, and suddenly they go, I must go to the grill because I must be scorched or something. And it's like, yeah, I mean, really. So essentially it just really becomes this kind of deal. So yeah. It's like suddenly I really don't have anything to talk about. Suddenly I really don't. Suddenly I'm just like, whatever, dude. I've been on the internet long enough. And being away from the internet has only taught me that people, no matter what context, no matter in which place, no matter where you are, they're people. So I'm gonna start a new game today. It's gonna be what is it called? Bleeding Deities. It's kind of like this, kind of like Mexican game made by a studio called Third World Productions, which, by the way, it's kind of like, I don't know if I should call it very Mexican to be that kind of deal, but it's, at the same time, it's like, dude, we're trying to give you a push here, and suddenly you're calling yourself kind of like Third World. Like, god damn it, dude, we really gotta wrap a golden ribbon around us, please, like, for God's crying out loud. Like, really. So yeah, it is one of those games. I kind of saw it being released. It's kind of quirky, kind of looks weird. I'm gonna give it a go, and see if it's actually pretty good. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, wait, my controller, my model. Okay, wait. Let me do some troubleshooting real quick. So, okay, what, my model is dead. Why is my model dead? Yeah, it is dead. Reset position. No. Okay. Hold on. Gotta relaunch it real quick. So yeah, it is kind of that deal, essentially. Like, most of the time, it just becomes like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I've been on the internet long enough to know that whenever something becomes live stream, most of the time what you end up with is just you get a lot of angry people, essentially, no matter what. So yeah, it's essentially that, and it's just like otaku culture. Okay, wait, let's get to this, basically. Ancient proverb by who, actually?
village, a peaceful town whose existence revolved around the serenity of its agricultural fields, was enveloped in a climate of restlessness and rumor. Among its inhabitants, the gloomy news of the incursions of the feared Teot tribe into neighboring towns spread like a feared omen. On what seemed like an ordinary night, the guards, faithful to their duty, kept watch at the entrance of the village, carrying out their usual patrols. Amidst the apparent tranquility, tension hung palpably in the air. From the shadows emerged unknown figures, whose presence went unnoticed until they pounced furtively upon the guards. In an instant, the tranquil vigil was interrupted by the sudden assault of these mysterious intruders, who took them from behind and showed no mercy.
I suddenly think that this is AI made.
One of the guards, who was keeping watch from the heights, noticed what had happened.
Oh my god, is it
and
actually
immediately
AI?
sounded the alarm to warn the townsfolk of the imminent danger. The people reacted swiftly, rushing out of their homes in panic, creating chaos within seconds. Everyone tried to flee, but it was already too late. They were surrounded. The few guards assigned to protect the village reacted quickly to the imminent threat. The firm and determined steps echoed on the ground, announcing the beginning of a fierce confrontation.
Dude, it's like,
Brandishing
you know
their weapons firmly, they boldly launched into confrontation against the invaders. However, the numerical superiority and ferocity of the intruders proved overwhelming. One by one, they fell to the overwhelming force of their opponents. Despite their courage and coordinated efforts, the guards were gradually overcome by the relentless onslaught of the invaders. The villagers, now defenseless and deprived of their freedom, were brutally captured and reduced to the condition of prisoners. Their anguish intensified as they witnessed helplessly how their beloved village crumbled before their eyes. Amidst the chaos, the Tlatoani, leader of the Teot tribe, rose with authority, proclaiming that his arrival represented the liberation of the people from the scourge of hunger. However, this liberation came with a price: tribute to the deities, whereas the first tribute, the sacrifice of a young woman, was required. Meanwhile, Kanek, a 16-year-old who was exploring the forest and training to become a great warrior, was hastily descending from the hill towards the site of the sacrifice. He had learned of the tribe's arrival. The news of his mother's capture hit him deeply, and now he was heading towards the place where the sacrifice would take place. In a dark and humid corner of that gloomy enclosure, the mother and her 2 children were prisoners, watched with eager eyes by the fearsome executioner. It was palpable in the air while the Tlatoani gave the order for the sacrifice to begin. The executioner headed towards the mother. With excessive violence, the executioner lunged at the woman with merciless ferocity and dragged the mother out of her cell.
I feel like this is some kind of power trip to some people, actually.
While she resisted in silence, no longer having any hope. Upon arrival, Kanek approached carefully to avoid being discovered. From a distance, he observed attentively while containing his fear and evaluating his options. He saw his mother lying on the ground atop a small stone monument used for religious ceremonies. The Tlatoani delivered his speech, offering loyalty to the deities in exchange for their mercy. Upon finishing his speech, the Tlatoani signaled to the executioner, while the ecstatic crowd performed the sacrificial dance around them. Immediately, the executioner raises the weapon and with great force stabs it into the woman's belly. The crowd of people screamed madly as they saw the blood spilling. Kanek could not believe what he was seeing. His soul was filled with helplessness, and an uncontrollable rage consumed him. His mother had been the victim of the questionable whim of mere mortals. Kanek felt his heart pounding with fury as the mix of sadness and anger drove him to seek justice. while the roar of the percussion filled the air with its powerful rhythm. The Tlawani proudly showed his first offering that would later be delivered to the deities. After a few seconds, Kanek reacts again and hears voices in the distance crying. Kanek sneaks through the trees and observes his two brothers, locked in a bamboo cage. The sight hits him with a mix of indignation. Kanek slides up to the cage, his hands skillful and firm, seeking a way to open the improvised lock until finally he manages to set them free. Kanek tried to calm his siblings, telling them that they would now have to be brave and very quiet. He took them by the hand, guiding them out of that place as quickly as possible. But the guards of the Tiot tribe waste no time in noticing what's happening and order them to be caught. Without a moment to lose, Kanek and his brothers embark on their escape. Kanek carries his sister on his back as his brother follows closely behind. The race against time propels them towards the edge of a precipice where the world seems to pause in silence. And behind them, one of the Tiot tribe guards fires an arrow aimed at Kanek, who struggles with desperate effort to dodge the mortal projectile. With a cry of anguish, Kanek loses his grip, his fingers slipping on the edge of the abyss like rose petals blown by the wind.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed is like the filter itself. Okay, like the line.
It's me, Big Man Roy.
Like the lines themselves, like the filter itself, kind of makes it look like it's AI generated in some spots. And the faces themselves, they don't have enough action and enough shape in order for me to actually kind of like recognize that it was made by a human being sometimes. So it's like, I feel like this style itself could definitely be improved if this is the end product in particular. It's just the fact that it kind of feels like part of it, like the filter itself didn't really help it very much. And it kind of made me think that, is this AI generated? And there are some parts where you can kind of like see some strokes of the pen, which is like, I would actually debate if it was AI generated or not. But it's kind of one of those things when it's just like, I'll be debated, like it's debatable basically. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's like the pixel work in this game looks stylized in a particular way, which is like, it kind of screams home cooked, but at the same time, it's just like some filters kind of make it look like it's AI generated as well. So it's kind of weird, actually. Like, I feel like stylization is very important, and even like, especially nowadays. So it kind of makes me wonder a little bit, like what could be made better, because it's like at this point this looks like I'm playing a browser game, right? So yeah, I mean, for a game that is somewhat cheap, I mean, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and see where it takes us, essentially. Okay, so continuing a little bit, it's just like, the thing is, like, I feel like to finish my train of thought when I was beginning the stream, it's just like, in particular, I feel like there's way more weebs out there. There's way more otaku out there, actually, that we'll actually like think that we are, basically. And because of it, a lot of people are saying like, dude, you're not supposed to say that, or this, or that, or this. When essentially it's just like, everyone is kind of like on the same side, and sometimes, most of the time, the people nowadays are kind of like, being like, you're not supposed to buy this, or that, or this. It's just like, most of the time, it's just people trying to look good and saying that it's for safety and so on. So yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't think that it is that we have. Okay, you have been healed. Realistically, I don't think that it is like something to like kind of like spin around in circles. I don't feel like it is.
Lila skotolune. Livote a juavai. Hechtamelel. Hechukexteval. Vuhun chovolil. Vuhun takmul skotol.
Okay. Oh, dude. I mean, so far it feels satisfying to jump around. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, straight up. Game feel. How does the game feel in like right now? The animations themselves, I feel like they're a little bit stiff in some aspects. Actually, it kind of makes me think that it's like, okay, it could look like use a lot of improvement. And it's just like that animation in particular, it doesn't really look that great in particular. So yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is your respawn point. Got it. Okay, cool. So this is the part where I go back. Oh, fuck. Okay, cool. Okay, so, dude, this kind of like screams browser game. It really does, actually. It really does, actually. Wall jump. Find these walls covered in plants, jump and hold direction against the wall to perform a wall sliding, then jump between the walls. Okay, wait. X. Okay. Wait, what? Okay. Explain it to me like I'm 5. What? Okay, what? Okay, can the turtle show up again? What is this? What? What? It's like, okay. I can do that. But... Oh, okay. There we go. Interesting, but... It's just like, okay, I feel like in particular so far, the mechanics have been kind of weird. It's just like, okay, you see animation, you see that. Hold L1. Okay, for 1 second. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, sure. Okay, but what now? It's like, okay, why does this have an animation and the stairs and the ladder, like whenever you were climbing a ladder, it didn't have this animation? What happened there? ability. You can now attack enemies while increasing the attack experience while in combat. You can perform a third and more powerful strike. Okay, cool. Okay, so I go back essentially, right? That's what you're saying. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, wait. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. What? I didn't even touch it. What? Roll ability, okay. Okay, I really like that though. Like, I feel like there was plenty of effort on a lot of things, and it's just like, I'm a little bit sad that the first impression of the... Like, I feel like first impressions are like a big deal when it comes to games. And I feel like if a game had such a weird first impression with the animations and stuff, it kind of makes me believe that in some ways, like, maybe you had a lot of work to go through, like, in order for you to get like all the cool stuff. But the main selling point of your game is gonna be the first seconds, essentially. As like the first minutes of your game, they gotta be like as hype-inducing as possible. It's like you gotta see the character play itself in the most like mobile way possible. And it's like, in particular for me, it's just like a lot of people could say that it's for like storytelling and such. But it's like, in some ways, I feel like for a game to be like enjoyable, you gotta have the first minutes be like smooth, buttery smooth. So you gotta actually do other things, that all the other cool content that you think that you've actually created. So yeah, and it's like, it's kind of weird the fact that that every kind of death animation has its own only death animation, which is like you have a death animation and the enemy has a death animation that is exactly the same. So it kind of like makes me a little bit confused about it, like the game feel in particular. Okay, cool. But it's like, right now, the game feel here, it doesn't feel that bad. It's just like, in particular, like at the beginning, the very beginning, the game feel was completely different. Now the game feels entirely like glowing a little bit better. It feels way more glowing. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. the soundtrack itself is not necessarily like too I mean, it's a teeny tiny bit jamming, I guess. It's a little bit like you got combat music, and that's great. Oh crap. But yeah, it's kind of like in particular the soundtrack itself doesn't sound too bad actually. Like it does fit the ambience in itself. The fuck. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so you can attack actually when doing that. Okay. Cool. Okay, cool.
Sure. Guys got left net.
Okay. What the fuck is it? Dude, this screams browser game vibes, actually. Okay, cool. Okay, what? Okay. This reminds me so much of the early browser games. It really does. Okay, cool. It really does, actually. Point of having +1 experience show up if it's like for a split second. That is one thing that I kind of like don't understand at the moment. It's like you didn't get like that notification before. Why do you get it now? Like why put it now? Away a little bit out of it, actually. Like, legitimately, like, the more that I look at it, the more I'm like, dude, I feel like it would have been better if there was no notification of, like, experience. If it's not gonna be in the entire game, it's like, and only put it in one part, like, what is the point of that, basically? Okay, cool. Survive your first level. Okay. Okay, definitely the game feels... I mean, it really feels like it's on bare bones specifically. It really fucking does. Okay, cool. Whereas like I feel like the filter doesn't help it very much. Like the filter in its own way, I feel like there like a better filter could have been used here, because it kind of like gives me like photograph type of vibes when in particular it's just like the difference is very clear specifically. And it's like a filter that looks like it's meant for photography rather than actually like ancient type of vibes. So and in itself is like even bigger games don't really bother too much about the story. It's like if your work, like for example right here, this kind of story, I'm not putting a lot of attention because as a gamer, I kind of like the first thing that I kind of look around is like I got a scene that had voiceover and suddenly I don't. So it kind of like, in order for you to have like the entire package, I feel like the game itself could have like worked better if it had like less. It could have been a situation where less is more, essentially, because like you can say a lot of storytelling without saying a single word, essentially. Like you can give a lot of context when it comes to like game feel in particular if you don't actually like say things, like if you don't actually like go ahead and say that, okay, work on this style. Like I feel like it could have been better if there was more work on the stylization of the individual parts and having a better first impression rather than having a bunch of text be the filler in particular, because the only thing that you could have done is just like maybe just animated a place where he's just resting and he just has like a beloved one, just giving like that kind of care in particular. It would have been a better deal rather than actually having that type of scenario where it's just like a bunch of text and just like two drawings in particular. I feel like it would have been better. And it's like there's a few things that I feel like yeah, essentially. Okay, XP. What? Okay, it's like, for example, this shop kind of interface, it doesn't look too bad actually. It looks kind of okay. Like it doesn't really need to be super high definition itself, and it does have great stylization in itself. But in particular, it's just that, for example, like the experience in itself of like having that +1 XP, +1 XP, +1 XP, like adding an experience type of system seems kind of weird in particular, because you kind of like don't see that within the animation itself. It's like the only thing that you get is like one text that appears like for a split second, and it's like I feel like it's a little bit more understandable if you had like just one marker at all times and just be like, okay, this is the amount of XP that you have, and just the counter goes up essentially, rather than actually having that kind of deal. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, just armor. No. Bin pads. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, money. Okay, so it's coins. Cool. And it's like, yeah, again, the whole thing like appears for one split second. Like, what is the point of that?
Scratches gehalskap this hivel, beskarters hivel, liskultets hivel lekkahte kim. Kakuntuminch kupilka kontik, kukulkopil sokiktel konkontekchulel. Mahilikahelkastus holotik. Likahelte teorin waksa mates hol.
Okay. So yeah, it's like, for example, in particular, the thing is like the work itself went into the voice acting and the language itself, and it's like, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but in particular, like, in order for you to actually have a game that is functional, you need immersion. And it's like immersion in itself. If you have segments where you got voice acting, then you don't, then you have like speaking like merchants and quests and its own way, it kind of like gives me that kind of vibe that it's just like, it's irregular in particular.
Kupokelo karil teod stohel. Laksopta ja laktik tikahel kotik tilitata. Max kotik titata was tasopta. Talkotik laksoptak. Magmenaktichio kapojak leksukutik lagachakitik.
Likonte joko hurunchukolonin. Shkotorchekcha, titskutomiskotesnatik. Makapelsnakat kotonchukla kopelsi kapelsi hipeljechinatik.
Okay.
Kutuning likut. Liznatik. Ha hohetik teotin. Max kutunin. Liskotik tete kuskulonin. Max kususiltijina kanal.
Ajohel tisun koto. Wakeletik ko kohel. Tahitas kotil. Tak me mantalchil hegeletik lachalepetil. Jaako tonala la pehmekne te wal kotonale machihka polo hamatik chutuk.
Progress saved. Okay, cool.
Tizin sukuputsi bil chikinetto chumelti cancalentu chuil. Kashai con cotincha cavalca. A col tontincha catetto chuti.
Okay, this is the thing where it kind of like bothers me a little bit about the text itself. Is like the writing itself is there, but in its own way, it kind of like the speech itself is kind of like explaining a situation in particular, and it's like it doesn't feel like a conversation in its own way. So it is a little bit of a flaw in particular, where the game itself could use a little bit of polishing when it comes to like conversation and stuff. Like when it comes to the conversation, having it a little bit more reactive rather than actually having this kind of be like a text that doesn't really have like a motherfucking like flow in particular. So yeah. Because it's like she's explaining what is happening. It's just like, sure, but like. Yeah, it's like. In some ways, it's the same thing where it's just like, oh, I hope that it like helps me or some more. It's like in its own way, just because you have a bunch of stuff doesn't really mean that it's kind of like content in itself that is like enjoyable to begin with. Because even video games themselves, whenever you give too many quests on a specific area of a specific video game, it's like too overwhelming for a player to go around and be like, oh, well, I have to talk to every single one of them and just keep up with the conversation itself. because in itself it's just like, okay, so what did that other person say? What is this happening? Why is this designed like this? It's like, and there's better ways for you to engage with the player in a slow manner, because like there's ways that you can actually have puzzles and have the player interact with the environment. And in its own way, like the more that I kind of look at this, the more I'm kind of like the variation in style kind of affects it sometimes, but it's not necessarily bad. It's just the fact that it's just like it's so much variation. It's kind of the same thing, actually.
Kotitskadi bonelki tanal juks kanal. Majalanal tajutes kanal yul kaponel kotonel. Kaponel kazlem kule. Balkoti kushanta kusik balta yul kule kusik bar.
Yeah, the writing in it's the same thing. It's the same thing with every single conversation in this place. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like in its own way, it kind of is like, you would say that it's flavor, but it's like if the text itself is more on the weaker side, it's like it's not rich enough for you to like have a continual conversation, basically. And it's just like they're NPCs to some degree. I mean, they're literally NPCs. Like, are you gonna interact with them at some point again? And it's like, not really. It's just kind of like character development in its own way. Like, you don't necessarily need to act the voices to everything that there is, but it's kind of like you can add flavor when it comes to specific characters and give them a little bit more life and context and background, rather than actually having a bunch of NPCs saying things like language and stuff. And the excuse can be like, yeah, you can have people like teach you the language and be like, oh yeah, this is the language. But in particular, when it comes to like the game design itself, it's more often than not, a person will not listen if it's something that they will not interact with again, essentially. And it's like, if it's not a candy for the player, it's not gonna be something that you're going to want to watch at all times. So
Kahel kanalti chichti kum kolalti kusiwa kortek tachak. Kabonik kanik tax kahalti kahol your watch kusis malival. Kus buninta kotikel hum kopunti kahol.
okay. Welcome to the cornfields, motherfucker. Literally. Okay, wait. Why is that? Actually, this bothers me way more than it should. It bothers me way more than it should. Because, like, there's animation for this. It's just the fact that it just didn't get used in this part in particular.
Sukus Kutoniku, Machas Kanilsa Nakatik. Shopels Kutonin Skapolkish Kut Katsunobilsan Atixukutonin. Mahkachu Kulonin Texkulins Texkopiltish Kutonin, Tach Kataranich Viskutonin.
Makotonin kahatakunin ketskotik. Makotonin masahati chikkalakohel. Kapoholla kakoril teochtokkohel.
Right. So yeah, it's kind of like the same thing. And it's like, I feel like the text in itself is not as satisfying if it's like fade in, fade out. Maybe I would, a little bit of a design choice difference would have been better. A little bit. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. design, it looks decent, actually. It looks decent in itself. Like, it actually feels stylized, actually. So you can attack up. Okay. Okay, cool. Jump. You can roll and jump by holding direction to the right and left, pressing the roll button and the jump button immediately. Okay. Cool. Oh. Okay, cool. That was insane momentum, actually. What? Okay. Okay. How do I get up there? That's how. Kind of like an object that you can interact with for a second, actually, because it was greener. Okay, so okay. It's slippery and it's okay. Okay. What is this? Boomerang acquired. Oh, what? Acquired. Okay. Progress saved. Oh. it really looks kind of linear. Just a teeny tiny bit. One thing that I noticed, it's oh, this is card. It's a little bit linear in design. A little teeny tiny bit. Okay, cool. Okay, that background is like, I mean, I don't want to say that it's like, oh, it's like too shiny, because like I never go outside and I'm a vampire, so like literally the sun is my worst enemy. But it's like somehow that thing kind of like flashbangs me a little bit. Actually, like game design wise, I kind of like does feel kind of okay. But in some ways, I feel like it's too similar. A little bit. Question, did they have glass back in the day? Did they? It's like, it's kind of weird though, like the kind of like market that is trying to hit. It's like, is it trying to be authentic? Then it gets like a bunch of voiceovers, but at the same time it got things like glass in particular. So it's like, do they actually have glass? It's like, excuse my ignorance, but I feel like they didn't. Exciting thing that could have happened is the kind of like the, what's it called, the background perspective, follow it a little bit differently, like by layers specifically. So it's like in its own way, it could have been like, it makes the vision of the game have a little bit more stylized, like a little bit more stylization. It could have been something that could have been worked on a little bit more, to have like variation, to be like, oh yeah, the background is a little bit more alive. That would have been interesting, actually. Okay, cool. Okay, didn't get hit. Cool. Oh.
Unikoshkarim, Okiusi Lanoptan Bokoltave.
Dude, it's like, I feel like this would have been a better stylization of text.
Skahan Sa Shiva Havai.
I feel like it would, like the game would have
Unikoshkarim, Okiusi Lanoptan
looked way
Bokoltave.
better if it stick down to this kind of text. It looks a little bit more clean, actually.
Skahan Sa Shiva.
Like it already looks cleaner, rather than actually having like a speech bubble. Actually, do I have enough gold points? Okay. Purchase. Yes. Chest armor. Dude, I don't have it now. Okay, cool. Okay. It's like I feel like a lot of like variation within the level design is definitely something that I don't really kind of a little bit thrown off by, just a teeny tiny bit. Yeah, it's the same thing that I tell you. It's just like, I feel like there can be much more storytelling with less pictures. Actually, there could be even more storytelling with less pictures and text. That is the thing in its own way. It's...
El kusi huna vils melanotik. Liteha hunapka.
Ai vomachi. Bakinjan te.
It's like, I feel like, for example, Panic isn't being built as a character in particular. And it's like, I feel like if you're going to add story, it feels even more important to build up the main character's story rather than actually having a bunch of filler characters. Like, I feel like having way more forms for the main character to interact with other characters is way more important, because you kind of forget who the main character is whenever you're actually having this kind of conversation, and it's just like suddenly it becomes kind of like a nameless hero kind of story in particular. So it's like, if the main character is gonna have voice and the main character is gonna be the one who's actually doing everything, the main character should be the one who is handling everything to begin with, and having more conversation and interaction and more reaction, because then you get a little bit more empathy towards the player itself, rather than actually seeing like a bunch of story that may not even interest you in the first go.
Pusi hoyalal. Spels melanotit das pohololitik. Dahun ka kalboton tusok. Spax mulatik sinilatik yunuketik. Chahai kakal patel chahai patel smulataik sinilatik. Tashahoyuk mus manotik. Huge temela noxmel. La yes kahans paam tukup uniketikek.
Ais ventagetotik.
Kusi holta kuhuv unikatik. Kusita haltebak tum. Yao hitta sopohtakme. Kusitit bata shurel. Chuglanta kuholta sakal kusimel. Kusi kushulet sahta hal kusim baktun. Yuchulal das melanotik. Kusis melanotik skulanta kusigme. Shulbatu shujolgme. Ta teo tuniketike. Tits bats melanotik. Ta sholelik shit das melanotik. Kusits kuhul kabel takabelil. Kusis melanotik yakil.
Akuk selta kopetik. Musha jechulel sventa genop.
Kusichi ectus kuhul makes kuskund kuhal diatoyot. Mukataites kusite odioniketik.
Joksa yai chaik. Mikusitik tayai.
Kusik skuhata yotot. Kusies melanotik takme. Smeta shuhuyu kuhekusi uniketik tamel. Kusi kushulet sahta hal kusim baktun. Yuchulal das melanotik. Kusi ukshulle hoy.
Machil. Kushi optahumel. Kushi.
Kusi ukshulte shulel tahunapta.
Ai chapte. Kusi chibachulel koponat sebentachi.
Kusi holta kuhuv unikatik. Kusita haltebak tum. Yao hitta sopohtakme.
Special attack required. Open your inventory in the weapon menu and equip one of the available powers. When stamina spheres are available, press LB to unleash your special attack. Then to be able to recharge your stamina again, you will need to fill the rage bar by fighting enemies once hold. Okay. What the fuck is this Dragon Ball bullshit? Okay, LB. Okay. Okay, wait. No power equipped. Okay, cool. What did I just do? a whole lot more ambience. A Dweller's Tribe. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. What? Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Okay. Suddenly I'm really getting like what's called. Suddenly I am getting some nice vibes out of the game so far. And it's like it comes around to the same kind of deal where it's just like the beginning part of the game doesn't feel as exciting, really. It's like, again, it kind of becomes that kind of deal where it's just like first impressions become everything, really. And the first impression that I got out of this game in particular, it was also like Game Pass. Everything goes dark. I don't know if I like that, but it's kind of like the first impression that I got of the game is like a bunch of huts, and it's just like I feel like there would have been a better job to put a little bit more effort towards the beginning of the game. Because right now what I'm looking at is like, oh, suddenly I really want to see where this unleashes itself. So it kind of like becomes this kind of deal where a lot of text of NPCs and a lot of village, and it doesn't have a lot of life in it because even though it has a lot of text within the culture itself, it doesn't necessarily sell it to me as hard as having the main character have a personality, or having characters that have a personality to begin with, and having recurring characters make it more of a pleasant experience. As like, for example, the master itself could have been I feel like it's gonna be a recurring character, and that recurring character is the one that doesn't have a lot of personality to begin with. So, and it's like the only thing that he has is just like he looks like Dr. Eggman, and that's it. So in some ways I kind of like I kind of don't dislike it, but at the same time it's just like, if you're gonna have recurring characters, focus on them a little bit more rather than actually having NPCs with a bunch of stuff that I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily want to see in particular. Like, yeah. I mean, be right back. I'll go take a piss, but yeah. So yeah, in particular, specifically I mentioned this because I feel like a lot of people have the mentality of creating a game that is supposed to be an MMORPG when you have the beginner village, and you kind of just go through the beginner village, and it just becomes that kind of deal where it's just like, oh, because it's the beginner village, it's supposed to be a bit like very like rustic, or like it's supposed to be something that isn't very well constructed to begin with. And it's like in its own way, it looks like it's the home village. So in its own way, it kind of makes me believe that it wants to be a recurring hub, because there's like a lot of people inside of it. But at the same time, if it is going to be the recurring hub that you go back to, you really want more like a little bit of more romanticization of the first area, so you can go back to it. And it's because, like, psychologically speaking, human beings tends to go towards familiarity to begin with. And whenever you see an aspect that is familiar to you within the game, that is not repetitive, is you kind of like go towards it. And when it comes to design, it's just like not familiarity in the terms of like stage design, because the stage design needs to have variation within itself, but rather the fact is that it's supposed to be like I feel like having like this area that I'm looking at the moment, like this area, I feel like looking at this area and making it like a beginning area would have been better than having a bunch of huts to begin with. Maybe I can reach it. So suddenly there's challenge now. Okay, cool. see a lot of care put into place. It's like suddenly I see that people actually care about the game design. So in its own way, it's kind of like, yeah, the beginning area, I would be like, just even in this stage, I would be like, oh, try to fix it so it looks a little bit better. Like in particular. So one thing that I'm noticing is, in its own way, kind of like so far, the music ambience is the one thing that I feel like it's in a good position, no matter like that is consistent throughout the gameplay itself. The music itself seems to have like some consistency. It doesn't really have that kind of like too much of an irregular emotion to begin with. So yeah. Oh fuck, cool. Okay, there we go. Okay, what is here? Oh, it's the portal. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's like, okay, why is the icon, why does the icon look like that? What? Like, that's the thing, like in some parts it feels like it's made by AI, and the other ones, it doesn't really feel like it. So, it's like, what exactly is happening here? Yeah, it's like when it comes to what I'm noticing specifically, it tries to replicate a lot of the culture in itself, but I feel like the name of the game is mostly consistency, basically, right? It's and artistic on some aspects, because its own way, most of the time, this is a 2D platformer, so you have a whole lot more freedom for things to not be as like a set in stone as it could be with other type of games. In particular, because it's a 2D side scroller, it's not a 3D experience where you're trying to immerse the player even further. It's a 2D platformer. So, in its own way, like, I feel like, in particular, the game itself doesn't really do... Like, I feel like the game could have had, like, a lot more chances of actually being more original. I suck at this game in particular. I suck at this, actually. Actually. Like, I feel like it's not, like, necessarily hitting me. Times am I gonna go through this? How many more? Bug. Okay, finally. Okay. do I do out of this? Okay. Okay, there's no context clues, so I'm a little bit unclear as to where I'm supposed to go. Because it's like, am I supposed to hit it with the boomerang? Yeah, it's kind of like, it kind of makes me question specifically where I am supposed to go. Because this place allows you to go back there.
Kanta makskin tunkanskalium. Tokshi valsbashikal haastwaram. Titavunno jo toksobo skalumnik. Havalkitakskum.
Oh wait, so I can choose any place? Okay, that's gonna be a little bit confusing, actually. Very confusing. Okay, I feel like there has to be something. Okay. Okay, so there's nothing else. All right. So, Dwellers Tribe, Wizards, Miners, Speakheads, Dwellers. Okay, yeah, let's see if the place itself can give me something. Yeah, it's like, the more that I look at the small icon, the more I'm like, that wasn't made. Like, by a human being, I don't think. I feel like it wasn't. Yeah, okay, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm like a little bit too anal about it, but like, for me that actually cares about art, it's like, it bothers me a little bit too much. Like, I feel like it's a better level design to essentially just have nothing and just have like a small wall, rather than actually having a small icon, rather than actually having like a motherfucking like AI generated icon. Like, I feel like that takes a lot of it. To upgrade your weapon, okay. Okay, I like this. Challenge of the wizards. The deities demand to test your courage. Your goal is to quickly find this lever and deactivate the mechanism before time runs out. Are you ready? Okay, cool. Okay, now suddenly we have some gameplay. But yeah, it's like I feel like this is the coolest sequence that there has been so far, and yeah, it's like because it's the coolest sequence, it's like it kind of becomes that type of deal where, as an individual, you kind of like get around and you're like I feel like there would have like this should have been like the first impression to begin with, like the ambience itself a little bit. I feel like it doesn't really need that kind of animation for it to load up and fade in. Yeah, I feel like, okay, this is such a cool idea. This is a cool idea in particular. The problem in itself is this. Is that the design kind of is like, oh, you need to wait in order for you to load the sequence again. Just like, again, it's not something ideal, especially when you have instant death. In particular, it just doesn't seem that kind of great in particular. Game. is so annoying. It's like, I'm pressing every single button and it should be like, dude, you should be able to skip. After a while, it's just like, it just becomes very exhausting after a while. Jeez. Do you hear that? Yeah, that's my buttons clicking. It's like, I should be like able to skip that. Especially when I do that. God fucking damn it. Just literally realized something in particular. Dude, it's like I'm taking a format which is like 1 hour of motherfucking like talking shit, and then the other like time, it's just like motherfucking like I don't know what to tell you specifically. It's like the other time is just me being angry at the video game. Okay, yeah. Cool. I'm just doing things on purpose now at this point. Like, what the fuck? And that is the thing about, I feel like that's what bothers me about the most, is like, this game has potential, it definitely does. But it's just the small things when it comes to design that kind of like bother the gameplay flow in some aspects, and it's like, Yeah, not everything has to feel in a particular way. And even if you do, like, I feel like there's better ways to do it. Interesting. Temple key acquired. The symbols of the damned. Locate the lever and activate it to reveal the hidden code. Next, push the boxes in position to push the boxes to position beneath to correct the symbol. What? 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 Wait, so down? Okay, this is a little bit a thing that kind of confuses me as well. It's like the design itself. It's like on the earlier parts of the stage, this box was sliding. Okay. And then suddenly it's like, okay, by the way, in this part where you're supposed to have an enjoyable time with a puzzle, the boxes are gonna move way slower. And it's like, it's like, in its own way, it kind of like takes away a lot of the game in particular. It really does, just a teeny tiny bit. It's like, okay, yeah, why does this one slide really fast and the other one moves really slow? Why does it move slow now? It's like suddenly I click something and the box suddenly moves really slow. And now it moves fast. What's the deal with that? And it's like, okay, yeah, this thing, it's like down and go over there. It's like, okay, yeah, suddenly you can move this. You can move this really quickly. So what am I supposed to do here? It's like down, down. Oh, okay, so here. this one is there. And go over here, right? Or fade, we must offer fresh blood to our deity. How proud will it be for anyone to volunteer? Would you take this prey to save the life of this creature? Accept or refuse? Prey not accepted. For a prey to be carried out, you need to have at least 3 life bars on your stats. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, so a little bit of realism there, I guess. I feel like there's too many things going on, kind of. And it's like the game pace seems weird, actually. It's like on one part it's like very slow, the other part focuses too much on historical lore, just so you don't ever see it ever again. And then it just kind of becomes this kind of deal where it's just like, now you have too many things in the map, and most of the time you're ignoring them because what's it called? The map low-key encourages you to motherfucking be like, to skip a lot of it, basically. It's like weird. Suddenly the game kind of like tells you you can get more things. And it's like, it doesn't necessarily like play with any other aspect. It's just like design after boss design, with some variation of new mechanics being implemented in random ways, which is kind of like, the design is all over the place, I feel. It's like, what I'm seeing with the design itself is you have a lot of ideas that you want to implement, and the execution kind of, like, for example, what the fuck is this now? Our journey begins with a mighty river and then ascends in steam, light as air. Symbol. Okay. 0000. Our journey begins in a mighty river. Symbol tree. Sun. It is cloud. Oh, our journey begins in the mighty river. So. So what is it supposed to be? Begins on the mighty river and then ascends in steam, light as air. And then it rains and it's like, yeah, sure, but like, what do I do about this? The river, the evaporation, the motherfucking this and the rain, like rain bullshit. So yeah, it's weird, specifically. The game in particular, the more that I play it, the more I'm like, I feel like there could have been like more cooler ways to implement mechanics, I feel. Yeah. The sun, okay? Oh my I going? Okay. Okay, great. My fish memory. It's like, that's the thing about this game in particular so far, is like, it kind of casts me a little bit in doubt. Because the first part looks like there is a filter on top of it, right? And a lot of it kind of screams like bad design to begin with. And the other part, essentially, it's just like suddenly everything looks professional and clean. And it's like, most of the time, what I would say is just like, is this made by AI? Because it's like, suddenly I see a lot of stylized things going on. And it's like animation of like, for example, the purple spheres in particular. It's like they have one style, the art, the background art has another kind of style. It's the enemies kind of look weird sometimes, and it's like sometimes in some stages it has the same stylization. It has the same style essentially, right? So it's just that the fact is like the animation of like attacks in particular, some of them, they don't feel like they were custom made. It feels like something out of like a storage, like something that was generated or that was out of like a box that was already out there. yeah, the attacks kind of like look a little bit different, and some of them, the animation looks a little bit incomplete, and some of it is like stylized in a particular way, like it looks like an actual hand. So it's like, okay, yeah, sure, I can get down with that kind of attack, but like, then I see this kind of spherical attack that looks like it was made, like, gotten out of like a database or something, like a data bank. And it's just like, I mean, it's where I start doubting, like, I feel like some things were custom made, and some others were definitely not. And it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, so what is real out of this game and what isn't? So yeah, that is essentially the thing that I'm trying to figure out here. Oh my fucking god. So yeah, it is really that kind of deal where, as a person, sometimes I kind of like sit a little bit on it, and it's just like, I feel like I've seen this style before, and it's like, this style kind of reminds me of something. Is it an individual trying to copy it, or is it like a machine copying a particular style? And it's like, that's where it gets awkward. Because what is it trying to cater to? Is it trying to cater to the fact that it's not made by AI by showing like custom-made drawings, but then later on to be too polished? So yeah, it kind of puts me a little bit on doubt, in particular when it's just like, the game itself, it doesn't really feel too authentic. It tries to like it tries to be like it has fun stuff. It has fun stuff to go around, but it kind of makes you question. Okay. I feel like specifically that becomes kind of clear by the fact that it's just like the characters don't have any like names and personality in themselves. They're non-recurring characters. So yeah, that is one thing that is concerning to me a little bit when it comes to design in particular. And I feel like if you have voice acting, it kind of has to be a must. It's like you don't shove in a bunch of voice acting and then say, dude, you need a like you don't have recurring characters. Like it's like that. The whole point of the voice acting itself is to have as many like you to get used to the character themselves. And it's like the bosses themselves, they're not recurring, or they're kind of like generic in some ways. And it's like in some ways you may argue that could have been something that could have been worked on in particular. but it just didn't. Temple key acquired. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's like in particular it's the only thing that kind of really bothers me. It's like you can say, because this game came out this year. It's like in some ways that kind of like screams maybe this was helped by some AI, basically. Which is like, okay, sure, whatever. At this point, I feel like everyone is kind of like helping AI to develop itself. Sure. Now, here's the deal when it comes to all these kind of things, where it really bothers me the fact that like there's inconsistency in some places and there's consistency in some places, and it is like, is the game trying to pull on your heartstrings, saying that this was not made by AI while having a very possible like assistance in some parts, and it's like, yeah, most likely that's the scenario that I'm looking at the moment. So it's just like, mechanically it's not a bad game actually, but I feel like there could have been like more things added to the mechanics rather than actually having like a lot of ideas in the same place essentially. Okay. What about here? And it's like, if you take a look at this, actually, it's like the game design, it bothers me way too much. It's a maze in particular, and you will be like, okay, the maze is supposed to make your brain work so you can actually remember where everything is, right? I I mean, there's puzzles that you can actually do, and then there's disorganized, like, structure in particular. I feel like that is a big problem that I see at the moment. That is like a lot of, or like disorganized ideas that doesn't really necessarily focus on stage design in particular, but I see ideas that kind of like want to take functionality in itself, and it's just like, it's not there. It's not really not there in particular. So yeah, it's, I don't know, actually. It's like, so far it's enjoyable, but there are things that bother me about the design itself. Especially this blinking dot where the main character is. That bothers me way too much, actually. That bothers me way too much. I feel like a blue circle would have been a better icon than what I'm looking at. So, yeah. So yeah, that is mainly the thing that I'm trying to get here. So I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break out of this, specifically because I'm a little bit like I'm a little bit confused, really. But like, I see good things in it. It's just that a lot of things that I see kind of bother me a little bit too much, and it feels like I'm reliving. I feel it feels like I'm watching a very like a developer that is just starting and has a lot of jumbling ideas, but that doesn't necessarily have one clear idea, and it's like, this is one map, and suddenly there's like thousands of gates on the entire place. It's kind of like, what specifically do you do in this particular, like, in these particular scenarios? Because you're like, what am I looking at? There's too many things on the map. It's like, I'm not trying to explore a road. I'm trying to play a game in particular, and it's like, I'm not in a museum trying to look at everything, essentially. So yeah, that is one thing that bothers me a little bit. But the stylization is like, okay, let's look at this map in particular. The map itself looks stylized. It does look stylized. In the beginning of the game, it felt like there was a nasty AI filter on top of it, and it just took a lot of the experience out of it. It took so much out of the experience. It took so much out of the first impression that it kind of made you go like, a little bit limp when it comes to like the development itself. So yeah, I don't know. And okay, so okay, I'm gonna wrap it up here in particular, I think. So the game itself has things going for it, definitely. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get out of here for a second. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it's good, but in just some bits, and the bits where a lot of the design could be like accentuated, I feel like the design itself kind of falls a little bit flat, because there's some stopping, like there's a design itself that kind of like stops it from becoming more fun because of instant kills and waiting time, of loading time. And I feel like a lot of developers who are veterans within the field, I feel like they've already gone through that, and they kind of understand that that is unnecessary to begin with. So yeah, so Terraria, most likely. I will continue Terraria, most likely. If I don't have anything tomorrow, I will most likely go to Terraria. It would definitely be like an amazing thing to do. But yeah, it's it might be like that. And what else do I do? What else do I take out of, like, oh crap, cool. Like, well, what is going to be the program itself? Like Monkey Ball, this game, and Terraria most likely, until I can actually like get some actual stuff. But yeah, it's like, don't get me wrong, all these jokes, they're like, I feel like a lot of the time humor is kind of dead, because I feel like most people nowadays, they're freaks, and I feel like a lot because of it, I feel like a lot of people don't want to admit it, and the ones that kind of admit it, they're like, I don't want to be dealing with freaks because I feel like that's not the thing that I want to buy into. So it's kind of like, so it is essentially that where the market itself is trying to be like, oh dude, we're chill, everything is clean, like don't worry about it. And it's like, dude, it's like, I want the market to be clean. It's just that I'm the freak. I want the market to be clean so I can continue being a freak and actually feeling like I'm the alpha male of the entire group. So in some ways I kind of like just go around and I'm like, dude, just I'm not sad, I'm just disappointed, basically. I'm disappointed in people. Like, no matter where I look, it's just disappointment upon disappointment, and just people being like, you do not say this in the server because you essentially are going against what the possibilities that there are, even though that technically speaking, it's kind of the truth to begin with. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, well, yeah, I mean, why are people getting nervous about like and taking power out of like games that are like supposedly harmful to begin with? Which in some ways you would say like, yeah, sure, they're kind of harmful in their own way, but like everything is harmful if it's taken to the limit and excess, or when it comes to consumption, and it kind of just becomes that kind of deal where you're just like, as an individual, do you really sit down and you're like, oh well, cool, no, everything is great? It's like, yeah, no, I mean, you kind of like have to laugh about the situation a little bit more, and you just gotta be like, oh well, cool. I mean, yeah, just laugh about it most of the time. It's just like, what exactly do you want me to say specifically? It's just like, I feel like these kind of conversations of preservation versus development and like the ideal and so on, they're bullshit. Most of the times they're bullshit. Like really, like I feel like a lot of the time the idealism is just one way of actually like motherfucking just being like, yeah, no, I mean, I don't want idealism. I don't want a perfect preserved world. What I really want is people to fight over the preserved world idea so that I can actually have fun while other people are discussing about stupid random bullshit that does not affect them, and the only benefit that I get is just me in particular. So it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, as an individual, I just sit, I'm just like every single time that I motherfucking see like a negative type of wave towards something, I'm just like, okay, who are you trying to intimidate? Okay, who are you trying to guilt trip in a particular field? Who are you trying to like motherfucking like kick out of the market? Who are you trying to kick out of the market in this particular like motherfucking like state of mind? Like who are you actually trying to get? And it's like, in some ways, most of the time, it just becomes that kind of deal where you're just like, nobody is laughing about anything anymore, and everyone is fighting. Could it be that everyone has been harmed in some way or the other, and nobody wants to admit it because everyone has been a little bit of a freak in some way or the other? And it's like, probably, yeah. I feel like reality is on the probably kind of field. Which is like, can you prove it? Most of the time you cannot. And most of the people, it's just like, they just kind of like, whenever they get a little bit too nervous, or like whenever they get too much of a headache, they're like, oh yeah, no, sure, cool, I don't know. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you specifically. So, yeah. But yeah, it's just like I'm over here sitting and I'm just looking at things when it comes to like, what is the most common product? What is the intent? Do you want to create a product in particular that favors you in particular? I was like, I feel like most people want to create products that they want. And most of the time, it's like you want to date someone who is actually someone that you can empathize, but doesn't empathize in a way in which you may not want to engage with to some degree, because it's like, yeah, I mean, you want the person to be a freak with you. Do you want him to be a freak without you? That is another deal, because it's like, oh, they've been a freak by themselves, and now you're over here alone being a freak to yourself without actually interacting with anything else. And it's just like, hold on, so I suddenly don't really want to engage in this freak-like behavior because suddenly I'm kicked out of the freak show. And it's like, well, everyone is a motherfucking freak from what I've witnessed, because everyone is trying to guilt trip themselves into actually becoming better. So yeah, I mean, it's like most of the time it's just like, dude, speak for yourself. I'm trying to get things going, and I'm trying to clean things because things are getting a little bit too harmful. And it's like, there's some reality to it, but I feel like most motherfuckers are trying to get like a pleasant experience that they don't actually get mentally scarred in a position that they can actually live with, basically. And it's like, now motherfuckers, they want to live in a situation where they actually can live with it. And most of the time, I feel like the incel economy does not allow that, because by the sheer nature of the incel economy, you're an incel. You're an incel. I'm an incel. Everyone is an incel. You don't want to deal with women who have actually been freaks by themselves, and you don't want to be, and you want to be warm to them. But it's like the moment that you become warm to them, they're like, oh, hold on. Suddenly I don't want to be warm to you, because like suddenly I'm calling a lot of instability onto myself. And it's like, is that so? Is that the fact? And it's just like, for example, for me, it's just like for example, I want to be like kind to gay people, but it's like, do I want a gay audience so they get off to me? And to that I would say definitely not. And so it's like, do I uninvite them and say them to fuck off and suddenly become kind of a freak that is just like trying to get as many gay people out of my business? But just like, not necessarily, but it's just like, I feel like like a lot of the time it just becomes that kind of deal that is like, a lot of people are looking for empathy and affection in some way or the other, where they just want to be like, oh, he kind of understands me. What? So since he kind of understands me, I can actually get someone to actually like get a little bit freaky with me. And it's like, most of the time that's just the reality of the situation, where just people want to get freaky with someone that I can actually empathize to begin with. And it's like, within itself, most of the time, the only thing that you end up with is just people just justifying the ideal world. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's their ideal world sometimes, and the only thing that they kind of like idealized is the situation in which they can actually get themselves a hot piece of ass, essentially. So it's really like necessarily that is just the reality of itself. It's most of the time it's like there's arguments about preservation of culture, there's arguments about moving culture, evolved culture, and I'm on the evolved culture kind of side. But at the same time, it's just like, I know for a fact that any argument can be used for any kind of reason, and any negative comment can be used in any negative context in order for others to get ahead of the game that they're playing to begin with. Which is like, in some ways, I kind of just like sit around and I'm like, so suddenly I don't really want to agree with everything that I'm the most popular person is saying. Suddenly I really don't want to say that. Suddenly, I see a lot of inconvenient things that actually make things go even more violent. Suddenly, I really see the idealism of other people being like, yeah, I want the world to be this in this particular, so it can be functional. But it's like, most of the time, it's like the flag bearer on themselves are the ones who are reaping the benefits. So why should you become the personal army of the flag bearer if the flag bearer themselves, they're not letting you into the freak show to begin with? So it's like, in that way, it kind of becomes like, you just scratch your balls and you're like, no, that's great. That's great. Why on earth are you actually like agreeing to things that one side is saying or the other one, when most of the time, if not almost 100% of the time, you do not get any benefit? And the only way that you actually get any benefit is if you're actually being an individual rather than just following at random flags like an ADHD autist that looks around at like hot bitches on the internet. So it's like, yeah, I mean, most of the time, suddenly that kind of like looking for empathy towards other people, suddenly it's really stupid to begin with. Suddenly the skill check just becomes you scratching your balls and just saying, that's cool, bro. Cool story, bro. Cool. So yeah, I mean, it's like most of the time I feel like streaming has kind of like mentally fixed my mindset in particular, because I feel like because of it kind of has made me understand that most hot, attractive pieces of ass, most of them, they've already gotten ahead in life in one way or the other. Most of them are kind of like trying to get something out of the masses to begin with. Most of them are just being playful and just being like, hee hee ha ha, I'm actually kind of like a weak girl trying to get help. And then they take the mask off and they're like, oh no, suddenly I'm trying to get ahead in my career. I have to throw you out of the bus so I can actually get ahead of life. And it's like, it's not a matter of like women, men, or your dog. It essentially becomes a matter of the individual being an asshole, portraying a certain narrative, throwing you out of the bus whenever it's convenient. And suddenly, a lot of the times, it's just people who have thrown other people out of the bus so much that they just get angry by the fact that they just got fucked by the systems that have flown around. So that is the reality that we're living in. Too many people, the reality is there has been too many people throwing people into a bus so much that there's less people that haven't been ran over than actual people that have been ran over by a bus. So suddenly the internet is a bus station. Suddenly, like, I gotta dress myself as calm as a tank engine, protect myself by calling myself autistic, by actually saying, yeah, no, I'm the autistic guy. Don't listen to me, but actually listen to me because like I'm autistic. So, and I need to be included in every part of the game. And it's just like, cool. Well, I mean, realistically, the ones that are reaping everything are the cosmopolitans to begin with. Because again, it's like, oh, I'm a cosmopolitan. I can go in any city of the world to get anything. And it's just like, I can get racist whenever it's convenient. And suddenly I'm not racist when I see someone that is attractive enough that is not in my race. And then it's like, dude, I can hook you up with that kind of deal if you let me in on this kind of other aspect. And it just becomes like, yeah, sure. And it becomes like a trading. The market goes around and everyone kind of pretends that it's a free market. So, yeah, in some ways, I'm kind of like tired of all these argumentation, all these people being treated like being shoved into psychopathy, because I feel like most people have been thrown at a bus at some point in their lives if they have been on the internet. So, just rename the internet to a bus station. Like literally, just put a bus station and just say, I really like buses and I really want to drive over people. Okay, that sounds a little bit messed up. But it's like, most of the time, I feel like that's just the reality of the situation. Really now. It's just like, I have my share amount of bus driving. Like suddenly, I've become a bus driver myself. I'm a little bit of a bus driver of myself. Science, none of that. I'm a bus driver. So it kind of becomes that kind of deal where you're just like, oh, okay, well, let's do the silly dance. Let's do the silly, I'm a bus driver dance. I have driven over a lot of people. I'm a silly bus driver. So, yeah, it's like, in some ways, streaming has taught me a lot of things in particular, and it's just treat everyone like a vampire, treat everyone like a bus driver, and be a little bit more cold-hearted with people when it comes to this kind of business, because it just becomes this kind of deal where it's just like, what can I use? What kind of misfortune can I use in particular so I can get ahead of the game? And it's just like, there has been a terrible accident with a lot of bus drivers. There has been a fire on the road for the last 20 years. There has been a bus driving on the road at the particular time. There has been so many buses, like suddenly this is bus land. The colorful bus suddenly it's just like, oh yeah, well. You are the perfect bus driver in this entire land. You are going to drive my brand into success because you are a hot, attractive woman, or you're a smart, witty man that actually can get some people behind my whatever the hell I'm trying to do. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's just, I'm just trying to, I don't know, they're trying to get Sally's phone, and she's kind of like a little bit of a freak. She really likes it when I beat other people up in the highway. And it's like, I don't get it, but she kind of gets turned on by it. Really, that's really what it is. So, yeah, I mean, I'm like over here like, dude, I'm just gonna take a seat, just gonna fucking sit down, and I'm just gonna be like, if I have to go take a piss, I'll go take a piss. I'm an old man at this point. I don't want to see other younger people just being like, oh yeah, well, dude, I'm the alpha of the pack, dude. I'm just gonna tell you how things are, because like nobody really, like at this point, I feel everyone is a freak. Everyone is too embarrassed to admit it, and everyone is too ashamed because they want to shape a world in which they can actually eat good. So nothing new, I guess, except that AI kind of ruined everything, because you got fucking idiots eating out of an AI. Like I would even say that it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'll see you tomorrow for some Terraria, actually. Until then, I'll see you. Have a good one. Goodbye.